Chapter 1: The Man in the VIP Room. Under the cover of night, at the luxurious entertainment club, Huangsha. Inside a VIP room, a slender and graceful girl lay in a large bathtub, her face flushed. Breathing heavily, feeling weak and feverish all over. Hearing a sound, the girl's eyelashes fluttered. She picked up the phone with a weak hand. "Hello? Luo Wei, did you or did you not cover for me properly?" Lin Yali shouted on the other end of the phone. "I am the resident singer and model at Huangsha, and you went to clean the rooms, making me lose face." Luo Wei's head was heavy and uncomfortable, and she said, "Cleaning the rooms is better than being taken advantage of." "What's wrong with being taken advantage of? Do you think I'm like you, a rich girl? If you're my friend, then cover for me properly." Lin Yali yelled. "Huangsha is where many wealthy people go. If it weren't for a rich second generation at tonight's high school reunion, I wouldn't have asked you to cover for me." After hanging up the phone, Luo Wei sighed and her head became even more dizzy. She stood up, supporting herself on the bathtub with weak hands. She had been sick for 2 days, and it seemed like she was running a fever today. She had even fainted in the bathtub just now. As she passed by the bed in the room, her head became dizzy again and her body felt light and she fell onto the bed. But she didn't know that a VIP had already checked into this room. In the dim light, the man on the bed slowly opened his eyes and looked at the woman who had fallen into his arms. A maid? Fu Chenyuan had drunk quite a bit of alcohol and frowned. "Get out." Luo Wei was burning up with a fever and her consciousness was beginning to fade. She tugged at her collar. "It's so hot." The scent of a young girl wafted over, and Fu Chenyuan's eyes darkened. Was this woman trying to play with fire? Luo Wei murmured in her sleep, "Dad, Mom, I know the company needs money, but I really can't." "Money?" Fu Chenyuan's eyes narrowed. So she was willing to climb into a stranger's bed for money? But the woman continued to lie next to him, and he was afraid he couldn't control himself. Fu Chenyuan frowned and pushed the woman away. "If you don't want trouble, leave now." The woman was very light, and she rolled over when he pushed her, almost falling off the bed. Fu Chenyuan quickly grabbed her arm and pulled her back. He felt the softness and smoothness of her skin, and his willpower began to crumble. "Ah!" Luo Wei woke up in the morning, scared out of her wits. She pushed away the man's arm around her waist and hurriedly looked for her clothes. "Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!" The man's and woman's clothes were scattered all over the floor. Even though she had not experienced anything before, the strange feeling on her body and the mess on the floor made it clear that something had happened. The room was dark, and she couldn't see the man's face on the bed. "Damn it!" Luo Wei slapped him twice as hard as she could. However, Luo Wei dared not make a scene because she was originally there to substitute for Lin Yali. She endured the soreness in her body, put on her clothes, and rushed out of the room quickly. When Fu Chenyuan woke up, he found that the woman from last night had already left. As someone who had suffered from insomnia for many years, he had slept soundly for the first time. As he was reminiscing about the beauty of the woman from last night, he noticed a jade pendant had fallen onto the bedsheet beside him. It was a delicately carved white jade pendant in the shape of a rose, very beautiful. Fu Chenyuan picked up the jade pendant and his eyes suddenly narrowed. He dialed a number. "The woman from last night, did you arrange her?" "The woman from last night?" Chu Hongyan was confused. "The manager said that you locked the door when you went in. Otherwise, I would have arranged a beauty for you." "Fu Zone, are you lacking a woman by your side as the wealthiest man in the country?" Fu Chenyuan's eyes darkened. Did this mean that the woman from last night was not from Huangsha? "What? Based on what you're saying, did you? Let's talk about business in a proper place from now on." Fu Chenyuan hung up the phone. He tightly gripped the jade pendant, a curve forming on his thin lips. At this moment, his secretary called, "Mr. Fu, the 10 o'clock meeting is about to start. Why haven't you arrived at the company yet? Postpone it for half an hour." Fu Chenyuan put on his clothes, picked up the jade pendant, and walked out of the room. In the center of Yun City stood a landmark building, the Jinshin Group building. The news of Jinshin's CEO, Fu Chenyuan, was being broadcasted on loop on the building's exterior. In early April this year, according to the latest domestic financial report, Mr. Fu Chenyuan, the CEO of Jinshin Group, once again topped the rich list this year with personal assets of 130 billion yuan. However, at yesterday's new project launch event of Jinshin Group, Mr. Fu Chenyuan still did not show up. The appearance and mystery of this richest man have made countless people curious and discussed, and the media are vying to schedule interviews. After the meeting, Fu Chenyuan stood tall in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of the 50th floor CEO office, holding a glass with his long fingers, as if he ruled the world. His secretary, Chi Xiuhui, reported, "Mr. Fu, after the latest rich list was released by Xingyuan Finance, many media outlets want to interview you." Fu Chenyuan took out the jade pendant from this morning, declined them, and arranged a private matter for me. Chi, the secretary, immediately closed the itinerary. "Yes, Mr. Fu, please tell me." "Last night, I got drunk and met a woman at the Emperor's Palace. Room number 1, find her." Chi was stunned. Mr. Fu actually hooked up with a woman? Then he reacted and quickly asked, "Okay, do you need to give her more money?" The reflection of Fu Chenyuan's cold and stern face was cast on the glass of the floor-to-ceiling window. He curved his lips for the first time with warmth. "No, I plan to marry her." Chi was shocked again. The documents in his hand fell down. "Mr. Fu, you mean, you want to marry the woman from last night?" Fu Chenyuan looked at the jade pendant in his hand, and the thin lips that had always been cold finally curved into a warm smile. "This is her thing. I've been looking for this girl for many years." The jade pendant was strung on a red string, just like the red thread of fate in Chinese mythology. Now Secretary Chi finally understood how Fu Chenyuan knew that woman. He respectfully took the jade pendant and said, "I understand, Mr. Fu. Don't worry, I'll take care of it right away." At that moment, Fu Chenyuan's phone rang. It was a call from his elderly mother. Secretary Chi couldn't help but sigh. As the wealthiest man in the country, only Fu's mother dared to urge him to get married. Fu Chenyuan picked up the phone and hung up without saying a word. A wicked smile appeared on his lips. "Want to see me get married? Fine, but I'll only marry the woman I want." He then put on his suit jacket and left the office with his handsome figure, leaving his secretary bowing and watching him go. Secretary Chi immediately called the Huangsha Entertainment Club. "Hello, can you tell me the name and address of the woman who was in your VIP room number 1 last night?" "Please hold on," the person on the other end of the line said. "Yesterday, one of our resident singers helped clean up the room. Her name is Lin Yali.